So let's start off with Thomas. Thomas, tell us a little bit about what you guys do at Citi and with regard to financial transactions and mobile tech.
Sure. By the way, let me take a moment, if you don't mind, to introduce myself, because I am actually a son of immigrants. I had to work in constructions for about a year to save money, and during that time, I actually took an SAT and TOEFL to apply for college. And when I actually got into college of University of Virginia, I had to work at night in Taekwondo school because I was a third-degree black belt, which served me greatly. And at the same time, actually, I had to work at UPS at night shift, and which put me into very small amount of time for me to study, but I had to endure, and then that put me into better positions for me to apply for a job and so on and so forth. My father and my mother, who actually brought my family over to U.S., they work at the clothing factory as a seamstress and a driver. They worked very hard to send all of us, my two sisters and I, to college. And after they finished everything, which means that they stayed here for about 10 years, put us through a college and actually help us to get married and settle down, they said that they're done in U.S. So what they did is not going back to South Korea, as many of you think. They actually decided to go other locations that are more adventurous. So they went to China at the border city of North Korea. And they've been serving for the last 10 years of helping the North Korean refugees. They so far helped about 120 North Korean refugees, being able to feed them, give them education, jobs, and other things. My father is going into North Korea probably about 6 times a year to actually start a factory in the border city. When you think about all these things, I have to appreciate my father and my mother for their spirit of believing helping people is the right thing, and that's what we are here to do. And I'm so grateful that I've been included in these particular programs to really see all of you, not just where you are currently, but the future ahead of you. The things that you will learn and things that you will get, how you're going to pay back to the society and other locations and other countries for other people who really needs more lights from all of you. So really want to thank you, all of you, for this opportunity. I actually found my cause of helping people in mobile technology. When you look at 3 or 4 billion of unbanked populations around the world, they don't really have bank, they don't have credit cards, they don't have any ATM machines nearby, they don't really have any financial support that we get here. But only one thing that they have is that they have cell phone, which is an amazing thing, right? They still be able to come up with the money to buy a very low-cost feature phones to be able to talk to their sons and daughters who are gone to the city to make money and then being able to send back. So if you look at some of the phenomena in Kenya or some of the African countries, those sons and daughters who are going to the capital to actually make money, they periodically send the money back. But since they don't have a bank, they don't have ATM machines, they don't really have any other electronic methods to be able to send money back home, they have to rely on the driver, bus driver, give them $2, $3 to send it back. Usually it takes about a week for grandma or mothers to receive money, and it's no guarantee. And the cost is way too high. But now, during the last 5 years, we are seeing a phenomenon of people are using a phone to send the money back home by using a top-up, as I think we heard from Abudia on his ideas of using a minute as a digital currency and being able to translate back to some kind of goods for them to be able to use their minutes to purchase a lot of stuff. And now they are really sending the money back and forth. and use that money to go to mom and pop stores and be able to purchase milk, pay for the medical services or pay for any kind of educations or any kind of things. And this kind of possibility is really opening the doors for us to truly believe that the mobile technology will be the catalyst to enable the financial inclusions around the world. And when I actually look at this kind of phenomenon, I actually realize that that's the area that I gotta put myself into to be able to help and definitely make that available to all the other countries around the world. So I've been involved in several initiatives. First, with the USAID, we have a Mobile Money Alliance, which is believing that cashless society is the way to go. And we are helping out 9 countries around the world to actually do that, starting with Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Zambia, and in Asia, Philippines, Indonesia, and in Latin America, Colombia and Peru. To really join effort with the governments and the private community and also the donor community to work together and create the environment where mobile technology could be the catalyst for financial inclusions. And at the same time, we ourselves at the City Transaction Services, as we are really the bank for helping our business to transact, what we came up with is actually the idea to be able to help Coca-Cola drivers to collect the money from the store owners of the mom and pops, not with a hard currency, but with a mobile phone. So the way that we have is that Coca-Cola driver usually comes into the store and they unload 12 cases of the drinks and whatnot, and usually you have to count $500, all these currencies, and be able to actually hand it back to the driver. And at the end of the day, the driver comes up with tons of cash, which is very unsafe. And you don't hear about some stories, but they frequently get robbed, and there's money disappearing left and right. So we convert that entire collection process to mobile. And right now, the driver, all they need to do is just go into the stores, say that this is the amount of money that I gotta collect from you, and the owner sends a PIN code for the driver to enter on their mobile phone. And once they confirm, the money gets transferred to the Coca-Cola's account, and then they go. So this current product has been in initiative for about 3 years in various different countries. We started from South Korea, and then now we move out to China and India. And about a couple months ago, we launched these solutions in Dominican Republic. And we believe that this kind of effort will truly innovate the collection process and at the end help mom and pop store owners to be less prone to the risk that they face by carrying a lot of cashes. At the same time, be able to move their inventory much quicker, because at the end of the day, what we heard from the store of India is that after the store owner collected all this financial transaction history, they were able to go to the bank and show that this is how much inventory they are moving day to day. And then they were able to secure the loan to be able to expand their businesses and be able to create a better environment for their society. So when we start to electronizing all these financial transactions and be able to use the technology that is already out there for us to use and use it in a very intelligent and smart way, it will definitely help all the small business owners, and that's definitely a benefit that we're trying to pursue.
What kind of applications are you seeing in the U.S. though? I mean, that's a great story in terms of what you're doing globally. What about people in this room? What kind of applications?
Definitely, I believe credit card should be accepted on the small business, and definitely the technology is advancing us to be able to do so much easier than before. So application like Square is a great example that it costs a little for you to accept, but by offering that kind of services, definitely you will be able to expand your portfolio of customers, don't that just cash customers to all the customers. And also I believe in the paying the right amount of fee back to the governments who provide the services is the right thing. A lot of times we prefer cash because we could hide those transactions and be able to avoid the tax. Well, I mean, it may gain you a short-term benefit, but I'm not really sure whether it will actually get trust of the society.
Mhm.
So by really electronizing everything, creating a transparency of your transactions, and being able to serve the right things, I think you will be able to get the benefit of more people who trust in your businesses. You're creating a better transparency for you, which means that you will help the community to get better. And I think there's room for much more growth than just Square being one of them, but actually a lot more of opening yourself to e-commerce and m-commerce and so on and so forth.
Now, do you see that in your business as well? Why don't you tell a little bit about what your business does?
Yeah, absolutely.
No, go ahead.
So I started a company called foodteat.com. When the idea was basically to make food trucks, food carts more accessible. And the way we did that was to provide them with online ordering. So, I was a student studying for law school at the time, and I was standing in line for 20 minutes just to get a peanut butter cookie. Now, while you're studying for law school, I'm sure everyone has gone to school, studied at some point. It's absolutely ridiculous to take 20 minutes out of your day to just wait for a cookie. So I thought, online ordering exists, and this is back in 2008. How can we make, these food trucks and carts that have been a part of the New York society for, hundreds of years, how do we make them more accessible? It's ridiculous that all they do is accept cash only, and at the time, Square was just building up, coming out, and so what we did was we decided to bring them online. So I created foodteat.com where, we were displaying all their menus, displaying specials, and giving them the chance to be accessible in a completely different environment, which was online. And initially, they're scared. They don't know who I am, what I'm doing. I look like I'm 12. What, what am I going to teach them about their business? How am I going to drive more business to them? And the idea was to create trust and loyalty, that I'm here to help them. So there were a lot of people that had mobile phones, but how can we use the technology they had so that they didn't have to purchase anything more? So what we did was we took, whether they had a smartphone or whether they had, a regular phone in which they were just allowed to use SMS technology, we decided to be as flexible as possible. So we were sending them orders through SMS, through email, through small applications that we built. And then from there, we were obviously taking technology, what existed, and creating it so that it was easier for them. And so that was the initial way that we started, just again, how can we make them more accessible? How can we allow them to accept credit card payments without having to, have a physical machine there? They can do it through us. And, again, we tried to charge them the minimal fees that was possible. At the end of the day, we had to run a business too.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it was just, for us, it was how do we build trust? How do we teach them, what else they can do with their business to grow?
So what kind of feedback are you getting from your food truck customers in terms of being able to now actually process payment on a cell phone? I mean, that must make a huge difference to their
Yeah,
business.
absolutely. I mean, a lot of them, again, like I said, initially, I think about a year and a half ago when we were first starting out talking to, food cart owners, because we don't just work with, these nice gourmet trucks, which again are, they know all about technology. They know how to tweet their locations. They know how to use Square. They know how to trust Square also. But it's been great because a lot of them are now seeing a lot of business. So initially, food carts and trucks are a very seasonal business in the sense that during the winter, a lot of them are hesitant to stay outside because A, it's cold. They don't have a lot of foot traffic. But the way we've helped them is by giving them customers that are able to, place group orders. And so that's helped them think, I'm still getting the same amount of business that I was during the summer because people are placing these group orders.
Right.
They'll send out an intern. One person will go down and pick up the food. But from that, people have trusted us and are now trying to start delivering. So they're, hiring more people so that they can deliver from their food carts. And that's the ability that we've given them to, again, trust that we're giving them the business and that they're seeing something coming in. So investing further and allowing them to kind of expand by having people to do, provide different services.
Right, right. So Evgeny, let's bring you in the conversation. Quiet sitting at the end there. So tell us a little bit about your business, Evelo Bicycles, electric bikes. What's that all about?
So it's actually Evelo. Essentially, electric bicycles work in a way that You can, in theory, use the throttle only, but you're not going to get a lot of range out of that. So it's unlike what a lot of people think about electric bicycles. It is not cheap. It still requires a lot of physical activity from the rider, and it just makes it easier.
When did you launch the business?
We launched the business a year and a half ago, and we've been growing pretty rapidly.
How many have you sold? How many have you sold? How many bikes?
I mean, I don't have the exact number, but...
So that many, huh?
Right. But again, the electric bicycles they've been pretty popular all over the world. Asia has about 120 million electric bicycles on the streets, according to the recent estimates. In Europe, there are millions and millions of electric bikes on the streets, and every fourth bike sold is an electric bike. Here in the U.S., we're still behind. We're a few years behind, but we're still catching up. We're starting to catch up. So there's a lot of good opportunities. Now, because we're still very much a startup, we work with a very small budget, and we have to market our business creatively. Right? We have to come up with creative ways of marketing. Now, we have launched our business with a promotion called the Trans-American Electric Bike Tour, where we sponsored 2 people who traveled from New York to San Francisco using 2 of our bicycles and 2 small trailers. Right. The whole trip took about 2.5 months. Not because it takes 2.5 months to get across, but mainly because we have started by contacting a lot of cycling advocacy groups, a lot of community associations, a lot of universities, local bike shops, all along the route, and we have organized local events, lectures, all kinds of events.
So how are you promoting that using mobile technology and social media, etc.?
Well, first of all, for the social media is very important to us. First of all, because electric bicycles are a very new industry in the U.S. And our customers are, they're far from each other. So we believe that an important part of our business is to build a community of e-bike enthusiasts. And we do that through the social media. For example, the tour generated a lot of interest from the press. We've had coverage in National Geographic, NPR Radio, all kinds of morning TV shows. And
so how did you get the publicity?
well, we've contacted the press.
That's great.
We've spent about 3 months preparing for the trip. We have contacted, we arranged sponsors that helped us cover the costs. Like I said, we're still very much a startup. We contacted the press, and we use social media. We, both of our writers, they blogged, they kept a daily, in reality more of a bi-weekly blog, because they still needed to pedal for most of their days. And we've used the social media to create a following, to start creating a community of current and potential customers for our business.
Sure.
We use the social media to help us with another program that we have called the Ambassador Program. As I said, we're still a startup, and distribution channels are very important to us. And it's a new technology, so a lot of the local bike shops, a lot of the current existing distribution channels, they don't work for us. So we recruit our current customers as ambassadors. And whenever we receive requests from a potential customer who wants to get a test ride, we connect them with an ambassador in their area. And all of that is done through social media, through our Facebook page, through it's all interconnected.
Right.
So
Because that's one of the questions that people often ask is, okay, great. I can develop this Facebook page. I can go on Twitter. I can go on all the various different social media outlets. How do I get people coming onto it? How do I build up
It's
traffic?
very important to engage the customers. We try to engage them by, first of all, we offer rewards to the ambassadors. So every sale made through a meeting to one of our ambassadors, the ambassador receives a commission. It's great for us because it's much less than a commission that a dealer would get. It's great for an ambassador because they get to share that excitement.
Sure.
Most of the people who try our bikes, they love them.
Yeah.
So, and they get to share that excitement with other people.
Right.
And we use our social, we use our Facebook page. We have representation on all the major social media networks, and we use that to build a community. We try
So it's
to
a community of enthusiasts.
Exactly,
people who
exactly.
love their product.
Our latest promotion that we're working on right now, which is launching on May 1st, is actually called 30-Day Electric Bike Challenge. It is launching in 10 cities across the U.S. with the help of our dealers, and we're getting people to give out their car keys for 30 days and use our bicycles to. I mean, the response has been tremendous. We get many more applications than we can accept, and because we have only so many dealers and only so much inventory that we can use.
So for 30 days in May, give up your car,
Right.
ride an electric bike.
Right. And we partnered with a company called Relay Rides, which is a peer-to-peer car sharing company. And they are giving credits to our riders, so they do have access to a shared car if they really need to. But we're trying to show that electric bicycles are a practical mode of transportation, especially in the urban environment.
Sure, for sure.
And again, we're using social media to promote all of this. We're in contact with the press. We're building up interest on Facebook and other outlets, and we're trying to build a community. We're trying to build a community rather than just sell our inventory.
Right. So where can people find these bikes? What's your website called? Tell them, they're all customers.
The website is called evelo.com. The company name is right here. So we sell most of our bikes through direct sales, about 70% through direct sales and 30% with dealers. We have dealers and ambassadors all over the country.
Okay.
So we just signed another dealer in New York. So if anyone is interested in the test drive, we have a local dealer.
Check them out.
Yeah,
let's
Paulus, I just wanted to mention, we're very proud to have Evgeny as a client of the Business Center.
Better. That's great. Another great success story. That's great.
And we are going to then make more of the popular material from the SBS available in languages other than English. So there will be content in languages other than English. There will be a much more robust services directory with direct links to groups that can help you with everything from financing and loans to getting certification to finding sites, etc. So we are at 34th and Madison. We have a mission to help launch businesses and then to help them grow. And among those initiatives are a small business, a startup business plan competition funded by CITI Foundation. We give about $30,000 in seed money and technical training to anyone who wants to launch a startup in our three boroughs, Manhattan, the Bronx, and Staten Island. And as I think this audience knows, there already is a Brooklyn Power Up competition and there's one in Queens. But what a lot of people may not know, and we'll have this new initiative launched in September, but please don't wait till September to exploit us, and really do exploit us. We're in Midtown Manhattan, and we have free meeting rooms for you to meet your potential funders or clients. You can just sign up on the web. We have over $500,000 of commercial databases that you don't spend a cent to search. So you can find suppliers, global suppliers. You can find out where your competitors are getting their supplies overseas. You can find customers overseas. We're a U.S. Export Assistance Center. You can also find competitive intelligence. You can download B2B mailing lists customized to your criteria. So yes, we're going to become even more useful to you virtually than we are now in the next 6 months. But please don't wait until then to come and exploit us now. The most valuable information we have is not going to be available remotely or via mobile, because these are the Bloombergs and the Pangivas and the databases that you may not have at your fingertips back at your office, but we offer you for free at Civil. So please come and use us. We are judged by how many businesses we help launch and grow. And so your coming will help you, and it will underscore our ability to meet our mission, which is to make New York much more attractive and supportive of the energy of small business people. Thank you.
I think that's going to be a great resource. Should we have some questions from the floor?
But before we have questions, I thought we could talk a little bit about the findings from our survey. And this morning we've been hearing the words City Foundation, City Community Development a great deal. So again, City, as Fabrice mentioned, has funded the BCNA for several years, and each year, one of the grants they give us, we use for a program called Technology to Boost Your Bottom Line. So this year, what we're going to do is we're going to take the grant, and thank you, City, again. Thomas and Jill are here from City, so you can go back and tell whoever's responsible, thank you again. I know Jill is responsible, but there must be other people also at City who process the grant application. So what this year, what the staff decided to do is they said, look, instead of being involved in a lot of workshops, in a lot of activity, let's just focus on mobile technology. So they've been very ambitious, and with the help of Catherine Ventura, who's here, she's our social media strategist, we developed a survey, and the staff within 6 weeks actually conducted over 200 surveys, and the goal is to actually conduct 700. In addition, we're also going to have 20 workshops on get to know your smartphone. And I don't know if Bettia Bradshaw is here, but Bettia, please stand up. She developed the curriculum for that workshop, and we've already offered 2 of the workshops. We're learning a lot from the participants in that workshop. And then in addition, Mark Fogan couldn't be here with us, but I think Mark Lee is here. If Mark is here, please stand up. But we'll be working with Mark Fogan to conduct 6 to 9 focus groups, and we're going to select participants from different sectors: retail, car service, food vendors, and Deepti has been giving us a lot of good advice as we develop the workshops, and she's going to be participating in some of them. So Owen, before I take up too much time away from the speakers on the panel, and Owen Strong is our senior intern, and he's brilliant. He's also an entrepreneur. He has his own company called Moon Loot. So Owen is going to share the findings from the initial surveys that we conducted.
Thank you, Yankee. Hello, everyone. So the Business Center for New Americans has initiated a survey to gauge mobile and smartphone usage among immigrant entrepreneurs. So far, we have just over 200 responses out of a target goal of 700. The people we surveyed were from a total of 46 different countries, with Liberia, Mauritania, Guinea, India, and Senegal being the most represented. Each one of our respondents has lived in the US for over 10 years. 94% have reported owning a business, with 82% of those respondents having owned their business for between 2 and 10 years. And I think internationally, usage percentages for smartphones compared to using non-smartphones is around 40%. However, over 8 in every 10 of our immigrant entrepreneur respondents reported using a smartphone, with 43% using iPhones, 30% using Androids, and 7% using Blackberries. 60% of those respondents have owned their phone for over 2 years. The most popular provider company was T-Mobile, followed by AT&T, Metro PCS, and Simple Mobile. 31% of respondents have reported downloading applications to their phone, with social media sites, games, Skype, and banking applications the most frequently mentioned. The most popular uses for smartphones besides making local calls were taking photos, with 89% of respondents having reported to do so. Texting with 86%, accessing email with 51%, accessing the internet with 60%, and making international calls with 54%. Finally, over 9 of every 10 respondents who own a smartphone reported using their smartphone for business services, with 83% reporting using their phone to communicate with customers, 42% to pay bills, and 1 in every 3 respondents who own a smartphone using their phone for banking activities.
So let's have some questions. Okay, Catherine, go ahead.
I have a question, Deepti, for you. Do you find that cell phone use has increased among the food truck vendors that you're working with as a result of working with you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we definitely had a bunch of vendors before that. I mean, I don't think we've been the sole cause of it increasing, but we've been probably, instigating it or helping them kind of use their phones more and taught them a lot more about what else they can do besides, we don't just try to promote our service, we also tell them, hey, you can use this for a lot more. So we tell them, for certain vendors that were using, just regular cell phones for SMS, we were trying to tell them, you can go and buy a smartphone, but you can use it for banking, you can use it for, keeping track of your emails, you can kind of communicate with your kids more and in different ways because they have kids that are in middle school, high school that are using it for God knows what, and they didn't know. And so we were kind of teaching them those things, and so it was kind of helpful in that way, not to just promote food to eat, but yeah, I guess to some extent we have.
So one thing I'll say, this is actually what I learned from Mexico, what they call is changaros. This is mom and pop store owners. So when we looked at their usage of the cell phone, and then actually how the store is increasing their sales. Amazing thing was that at the 3 p.m., between 3 to 4, the increase was going up, Coca-Cola beverages. And they said, why? It's because all the kids are walking back home from school. So the store basically thought about it, saying, okay, why don't I actually send a text of coupon that any kids who come into the store between that time will get extra chip. And actually sales increased by 160%. So the reason why I say that is that a lot of times we think that mobile technology is just for payments or just for inventory checking and things like that. Think about it the way to communicate with the customers. Think about the way to create the loyalty with your customers that create a relationship, the level where American Express is doing or American Airlines is doing, or big vendors are doing. You don't really need to have a big businesses to be able to build the loyalty with your customers. You could definitely use a smartphone, a way to communicate with your clients and build the loyalty. And that should be definitely one area that everybody should think about.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that we've done is when we went with our clients, we don't just, give them the order and that's it. We give them a lot more information. So we're giving them cell phone numbers, we're giving them email addresses so they can build that loyalty. And so that's another service that they feel that they're actually gaining more from. Because not every business is able to use social media and kind of engage with customers unless they have a cool product, like the electric bike. These guys are just selling food, and to them they think I'm just another chicken and rice guy in the corner. But again, because they know they have, customers that are coming back again and again, they're able to kind of build up that loyalty with them.
Yeah, I think this is, some great points there that I think with technology, it really levels the playing field for small businesses. Once upon a time, not too long ago, these types of direct marketing efforts really just available for big companies with huge budgets. Now, an entrepreneur can have the same kind of interaction with their customers as an American Express can as well. In the middle.
Hi, I just like to be curious in terms of how you distinguish yourself from Seamless. Even though Seamless.com caters to restaurants, and you cater to food carts.
Right. So
did you build off that model, or did you kind of? I'm just curious because They've now been established, I
For
think,
about-
about 5 or 6 years, and they've been
No, they've been around for about 13.
13.
Yeah.
They only took off about 6 years ago, really.
Well, so they only took off in the past 6 years for the consumer market, but before that they were really with corporate companies. So when I did start the business, Seamless did come into mind, and which is why I said online ordering does exist for restaurants, and why can't we apply the same model to food trucks? So the difference between, and since you did ask, I will mention the difference between us, Seamless, and any other online ordering service. The food truck angle is how we really set ourselves apart when we first started the business, and that still is a big distinguisher. But now we do work with restaurants and caterers, so the caterers are also another big part of our business. But what else we did was instead of just trying to copy their business model, we did something completely different, and which is why we get noticed and recognized a lot. Is that our business model is we don't charge a certain percentage to our vendors. So any single time you do order online from any of these other websites, these vendors are getting charged 10 to 18%. As a small business owner, you already have a small profit margin, and all of these third-party vendors are cutting into that and charging a lot of money. So what we did is we were charging 10 cents and nothing else. So 10 cents is what what we have to pay for our processing. And so our model is, as an internet company, we have lots of data, we have lots of services and extra benefits that we can provide to our vendors, and suppliers can be connected to these vendors. We're communicating with them on average 10 to 18 times a day, 10 to 20 times, depending on the number of orders they're receiving. So our model is to make money through data, through advertising from suppliers to these vendors.
So you took a long-term view, medium long-term view.
Exactly. We're trying to create a more sustainable business as opposed to, again, short-term and thinking, let's just keep charging our vendors for practical services.
Well, we're also looking at the total market research page going forward. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So in short, you're better, faster, and cheaper, right?
Absolutely.
That's what you're supposed to say.
Yeah, exactly. What he said.
Anyone else? Any other questions? Yes. Mr. Close.
Yeah, after I listed my 14 questions, I said...
Okay, I know you've been preparing these all year.
Thank you. Thomas, I'm just curious, I think about the money I send over outside the country to the Western Union and other services. Have you considered having capability of seeing the person that you're actually delivering the money to, just to make sure it's accurate in respect?
Of course, I think a lot, because as I mentioned, my parents are in China, right? As a banker, I gotta say this, remittance comes with heavy, heavy regulations. No matter how I wanna do it, enable it, make it convenient for our customers and be able to really service them, it comes with heavy regulations because the world is growing concerns of money laundering, and it comes with a lot of different regulations to be able to make sure that there's no systems that are exposed to the money laundering. So whenever it is remittances are very, very core to the immigrant society and be able to send the money back home, really the technology has not been able to advance, even though it is available, being able to advance and really bring a convenience factor to what you're saying, right? Being able to communicate to a FaceTime and be able to send money back and forth like real time and be able to withdraw the money at the other end. But we are working through it, and as one of the good example, our small business offering from Citi is being able to actually give you a lot of free wire transfer services. If the other party actually has a Citibank account, then yes, of course it comes in as a free. But if it is not, then still be able to actually give you some limitations of how many times that you can do it within a month, but be able to offer that. But let's kind of think about it, right? Remittance is being able to take the money from this existing country to the overseas. It comes with a lot of processing fees. It comes with a lot of regulations, a lot of things. You have multiple different options, going to Western Unions or going to MoneyGrams or different locations and be able to do so. Yet a lot of people actually don't know that bank is actually offering, not just Citi, but bank is offering a lot of services that are related to remittances as long as you come with a certain the requirements. So I think definitely you should explore it. I'll say as a person who believes that technology is in the future, I would definitely say that technology will see the light at the end of the day to be able to bring the regulations on top of the remittance corridors so that we could really see how technology could help the remittances. Just one thing, when I actually researched that about a couple years ago, just money going to Mexico is about $30 billion from US alone on a year. $30 billion.
And how's that going? Western Union right now?
Western Union is a big corridor, but at the same time, there's a lot of other third-party venues that I described, giving to your relatives, to your friends, and whatnot. It's happening all throughout, and that's the part that everybody is actually concerned about because there's so many systems that are supporting this remittance need outside of the systems. And so definitely we're gonna see the better improvements at the end of the day. Still struggling to understand how to control it properly, but I'm sure that the technology will actually show us the way.
Question for Mr. Koh. It sounds like you've got a lot of really exciting initiatives in the mobile field. What would be the single first app that you would recommend for a...
Can you use the mic?
Okay.
Because I know you always ask very brilliant questions.
I thought I was projecting. What would be the single first app that you would recommend a micro business owner in New York start using to start doing mobile banking or to start taking advantages of these amazing financial mobile services?
DTR just told me to use Citi, but I don't say that.
No, I mean, from your portfolio at Citi,
Right.
for instance, if I were a Citi customer and I'm a micro business owner, what app or what mobile tool should I start with?
I personally, taking my Citi hat off for a minute, I'll say use Square. You gotta increase the portfolio of acceptance network, and currently only cash is very limited. Be able to accept a credit card is going to open the door wide. Therefore, you should do it. And the second thing I'll say is to use services like foodtoeat.com, those kind of e-commerce. Because a lot of times, you're very narrowly focused on the only customers are visiting you as a person to person. Don't think that that's the only customer that you should catch. Be able to open wide. It opens any people that are hearing about you, read about you in the magazine, from the friend to friend, they actually found what you do. Be able to service them effectively, and that's the e-commerce way, right? eBay has a great services, Amazon has a great service, and a lot of other e-commerce sites are popping up left and right. You should definitely look for an opportunity and make yourself known. For instance, actually, I met my customers, travel agency in UK a couple weeks ago. Actually said an interesting thing. So I said, okay, so what is the main service channel that you actually sell your travel services? And he said, you know what? I got 14 different websites. 14 different websites through different brands. Don't think that your channel and your name or your store, whatever website is, that's the only channel that you should have. Expand the portfolio. Be able to talk to the customers in any shape or form that you can. Be able to insert to the eBay, be able to insert to the foodtoeat.com, create your own website, collaborate with some of the websites, really be able to create a more infrastructure way of opening yourself up to the world. I think that's really the two things that you got to do. Number one, accept the payments of credit card. Number two, open yourself to more digitally. And then I'll say use Citi at the end.
That's a great point. I think that too often times we're so focused in on our proprietary stuff, but yeah, go out there and get yourself on as many websites as possible and as many communication channels as possible. Any other questions?
Well, first off to Thomas, I'd like to say I'm glad that you're working in mobile banking. I lived in Kenya for a few years and I really miss M-Pesa. This country is so convenient. But to the whole panel, I'd really like to hear some of the trends that you see, some of the things that us here in the audience should kind of keep an eye out on, things that might be happening.
Start at the end.
Well, again, we're a little different, and what I would like to submit is that in your portfolio of tools, including mobile, don't forget the virtue of face-to-face, whether it's networking, whether it's sitting down with an experienced business counselor. I'm talking about some of the things we offer and why it's sometimes worth your while to be both virtual and right in someone's face. So we survey our business plan entrants who go on to open the first eco-friendly preschool in Harlem, and she talks about how many of her parents who are sending students to her school, the ribbon cutting is on the 7th, she met at events at the library. I mentioned the meeting rooms. One reason you might want to come face-to-face or on-site to Civil is not just to use these premium databases that you probably can't afford a $25,000 subscription to, but to use databases like lynda.com. We have 50 licenses. We've been talking a lot right now about technology and use of smartphones. If you want to maximize your use, come and take the lynda.com video course on same for free at Civil anytime we're open. So what I would like to say is, in your mix of activities, include both places you can meet B2B clients or personal clients in a physical sense, along with the whole suite of mobile.
Danny, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I do agree. I'm sorry. I mean, we are mostly a virtual business. We don't have a storefront, but I still do agree that face-to-face is important. You know, it depends on the product, of course, but for us, virtual only does not work.
So people have to test the product.
Right. So I mean, be creative. That's being creative is the most important thing. If you can't, if you're too small to get into the big stores, you know, they think of other ways to get seen by your potential clients. Use social media networks to build an audience. You know, just be creative. That's the most important thing.
Trends, Thomas, what do you think? Anything you're seeing in the market?
Absolutely.
Trend?
Because I actually cover global, I do see a lot of creative ideas around the world. One thing I was fascinated when I visited South Korea, such a face-to-face, but yet they did it very intelligently. Number one, they didn't bring the customers to the store. They brought the store to the customer. Good example, subway stations. They actually had a grocery shopping in subway stations, but not with an inventory. Think about it. They had a sample of pictures and a code. All you have to do is enter the number of code of your item that you want to shop. By the time you get home, it's delivered to you. Bring a store to the customers. I'm not discouraging the face-to-face, but you gotta come out of the way of think about how you're gonna be able to serve your customers at their comfortable locations. Don't rely on their physical coming to your store is the only way to sell your stuff. Bring the store to them. I think there's a lot of creative ways that you can actually open doors.
Yeah, connect with the customers when they want to be connected. Yes. Yeah. DT, what do you think?
I definitely agree with that. Actually, just a small example. I mean, we're not as advanced in the U.S. as we hope we are. But I was actually trying to rent a car this weekend to drive down to Princeton, and I didn't have the time to do Zipcar, so I found Hertz, and Hertz had a local parking lot that I could kind of go to, rent a car, and move on. But what they did was they actually had a virtual machine, and they actually had a live person there. So I got my face-to-face, but at the same time, they brought the store to me. They brought it to a convenient location, so I didn't have to kind of go out of my way to Westchester, where they might have a huge lot, but they brought it to me. And so I was talking to someone through video chat. They had a small console. So definitely what you were saying, face-to-face is really important, and I still appreciate it. But at the end of the day, I need to move quickly, right? So what can I get done really quickly and move on? And it's the same thing. Like, I prefer going to an ATM as opposed to talking to someone at the bank and talking to them for 20 minutes, small chat, but just kind of moving on. But trends that I'm, kind of seeing is, I guess, we're becoming a more cashless society, and taking credit card payments is a huge, huge, huge part of who were becoming, but besides that, but our mobile phones are becoming methods of payment. People don't even have to go to banks. They can take a picture of their checks and deposit them. So using mobile technology for anything and everything is becoming more and more of a trend, I definitely think.
Yeah, and I'd second that. And we've just done a survey on Impreneur.com, surveying our immigrant entrepreneur readers. And increasingly what's happening is that everything's going mobile in terms of how they want their information. So we publish a website. You're not going to find people coming up to a PC or a laptop even and then downloading it, looking at it and reading the information. They want it on a smartphone. So we have to rethink our publishing model and then start publishing for mobile and have our videos and everything else formatted specifically for that. So that's, you know, that's what we're seeing.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I was actually reading something the other day, and they said 70% of the way people are looking up restaurants is on the mobile phone.
Right.
So people are walking and trying to find a place to eat or finding a place, you know, kind of go pick up food or dinner. It's through their mobile phone. It's not actually by sitting at home and finding it on their desktops.
Right.
I order my food to my wife through texting. They say, honey, I'm coming home. I order through mobile phone too.
And is it ready when you come home?
Absolutely.
Do you have any idea of the percentage breakdown in terms of like smartphone percentage to percentage versus PayPal versus Square at the moment in terms of transactions? I know that's kind of a bit of insider information from the city, but it's very interesting.
Let me see. It's 28.9% or something. No, I don't have that figure, but what's been amazing is that figure is changing every single day, right? And you will see more and more growth of smartphone adoptions. Just look at what we've seen during the last month or so, right? You've seen so many different announcements of Samsung Galaxy and, you know, iPad and iPhones and all those things. And also we heard that Dell is now going to be sold, right? So the PC era is now going down, and new emergence of mobile and tablets. And actually, I do have I recently purchased a phablet, what we call this 5.5-inch phones. I love it. You see me very weird, like having a phone like this. But actually, my CEO told me the other day, why do you think the phone needs to be right here? Phone is gonna be here because you're gonna have a Bluetooth and all kinds of different technology will connect you. So really come out of the mindset and be able to open to the technology. I think it's gonna be way to go, and we're gonna see more and more mobile and tablet is gonna become the mainstream, thinking that your application, everything, should be designed for mobile first and be able to open to the e-commerce. And it's what Citi is actually doing now. That we are actually taking the mobile and tablet as a major factor for our future. So therefore, we want to design our sites and everything to be optimized on those devices first, and then we want to expand it to the desktop, right? And another thing is it's very single task, meaning that you don't have to complicate a lot of things by adding a lot of things on the websites, but put it down, put it to multiple different ways, and creating a single app, or maybe put some games on top of it, and actually, you know, do. I just met the CEO of Angry Bird on the conferences, and he was carrying very exciting item that I wanted to buy, but he wasn't for sale. It was a Angry Bird iPad cover, and I was like, "Can I buy that?" No, he said it's limited. But think about those unique items that people will see a value, right? And those kind of things always bring out the services. I'm sure you're gonna find amazing things. The one thing that actually I want to say as the final comments as an immigrant myself. For a while, I struggled that how can I be an American, like truly become an American, right? Speak like them, think like them, look like them, eat like them, right? And laugh at the jokes that they laugh, right? Be able to recite the story that that I never watched, and then realize that you know what, I will never be one. I had to accept who I am, which is I'm a Korean immigrant who doesn't have a history. English is not my first language. I don't look like them, I don't think like them, and I am different. And you know what? That is good. It brings a diversity to the society, and I want to make sure that all of you embrace who you are, and don't think that that's a disadvantage. The society is changing. You should be who you are, right?